I'm on a dark road, so you just have to deal with the darkness. Um, I'm going to continue from a point that I was cut off on the last video because of memory issues. It's actually a decent point to make a whole video on concerning death and the process of observing it. I suppose with the five senses, because you feel it too. Um, it's hard for me to talk about, but I suppose when it's fresh is when it's best to talk about. I was mentioning how if you have something die in your hand, but before I can quite clarify, I mean, like not something that you killed or you even mercy killed, but when you let it go through its natural processes, but stay with it, the creature, for comfort, so it doesn't have to die alone, or trying to keep it warm so it doesn't die as cold. And you really, really care and love this creature. It's the last like hours, especially like the last hour, the last 10 minutes, the last 2 minutes, it all gets more and more intense because, hours before, you're really like, rooting on the trying to keep, like, hey, wake up, keep going, like, here, eat this food, like, we can make you better. And then, like, an hour before, you start to realize, like, it's not going to get better. Although these creatures, a lot of times they'll have like one last spurt of it. It's like I don't know. If I think like the euthanasia thing, and in a way, is almost more so for the human's sake to spare them the pain, because it's really, really difficult. You feel the thing, the breathing and its heart beating in your hands, and you feel like a bit of the pain it's experiencing, and then you like watch the eyes and stuff as they like bulge open as it's like in its final moments and the adrenaline kicks in. I like, I mean, this creature is bird, so like it was opening its beak full on like the last like minute and a half or so. There was several times it would convulse and just like open its beak up, and it was like still fighting. It was like because like the body just doesn't want to die. Uh, and of course, like you feel it because like you're holding it, and I remember what really like got me at this for this particular bird was when it died. Its tail feathers, which were like at an upward angle. Um, its tail feathers, which were like at an upward angle, and once it finally passed, the muscle relaxed and its tail feathers just went down, and its eyes became half closed, and it stopped blinking, and it stopped moving, and it just became stiff, and you feel its heart stop beating. But like, I don't know, I don't really care about people, but like, and I know people will be cruel and they'll like hurt animals and stuff, even just to get under someone's skin. But I mean, humans are already so cruel to animals. Like, there's not much worse you can do. Like, some soldier, like I remember his story, he threw a puppy off a cliff just for like views and laughs. I wouldn't mind throwing him off a cliff. But like, I know people like they don't care about animals, whatever. That's why I hope there's a nuclear war. We can all just burn together. Um, but again, I guess some of that comes from like having empathy and actually like multiple experiences. You can't see, the light's too bright from this car. Um, Multiple experiences of having creatures like die in my arms or die in my hands. And I guess back to the euthanasia point. It's like, oh well, it's like the bird yesterday. I found it. It would have said, "Oh, just put it down." I should have to keep walking on this side of the road. Just put it down. Put it out of its misery. But like the next day, it got up and hopped around. Like it had like another morning. Can't fucking see. I fucking hate like I hate everything. It's fucking human. Fucking hate cars. But yeah, I don't know. I get like sort of full of malice thinking about this sort of thing. Every time my car comes by, I can't fucking see shit. It's so fucking dark. My eyes are adjusted to the dark, the natural fucking dark, the natural fucking starlight and moonlight. Like God, God, I pray for an EMP. Just wipe out all electronics across the globe. Fucking sidetracked. But I guess the anger is easier to deal with than the sadness. So yeah, the euthanasia thing. So like, you're depriving the creature of its like of its final moments, its final rights. And I think it comes from that selfish human perspective because it's like, oh, we're gonna bring you, we're gonna take you into an unfamiliar building, force you down, stick a syringe in you, like all these things are like duress. Animals can fucking sense that shit. They can sense when something's not quite right. Like they know they're dying. Somehow and that's the other thing too is like really like time really really like amplifies some sort of perception of it because you realize, especially for like a young critter, that like it's literally only lived hours. Like even if it's lived for a month, well, 24 times 30 isn't that much? Many hours. So like whatever hours you give it, or like ease its pain, so just like if it's lived say 300 hours and we can make the last 30 of those not so bad, but I don't know, you just like it really like puts in the perspective of like the value of an hour. Or like the value of like last moments or final rites. In So I talk about something dying in your hands. I don't mean like killing it out of cruelty or fucking even mercy. I mean like actually sticking with it through the fucking the process it has to go through. And I guess people have done that probably with like their relatives or whatever. But some people, like someone told me, my friend told me today that like he's taking care of people And he's like there with them all the time. And it's like, oh, I have to go do something, and then they happen to die while he's away. And it's like, well, maybe he was lucky for that, because it's like a duty to stick with someone, but it's also very traumatizing. But again, it also kind of prepares me for my own death. It's kind of funny too because I have asthma, which hasn't bothered me in quite some time. But like, it could flare up. It could be like on top of like some fucking COVID shit or some fucking ammonia or pneumonia or whatever how you say it. Uh, and I could die the same way, slowly with my struggling to breathe, like having to exert all my energy into my fucking chest muscles, and eventually this fucking my digestive system just shutting down and just only being able to shit diarrhea, and then like just delirium and just like pain in my chest from breathing so hard, until like finally my heart just like fucking gives out and just starts beating erratically trying to fucking stay alive. I'm just like, did my adrenaline fucking kicks, and I've got about like 2 more minutes to live. Fucking eyes bulge out and fucking like death spasm. But I mean, seeing it firsthand, then also like fuck my life and whatever. It's less tragic if it happens to a human. Uh, at the same time, though, like there's a level of toughness to facing it, and I guess I'd be under obligation. Like if I could still stand up, to stand up, so to speak. To like, they don't die until they're like, like they don't die until they're completely defeated. That's part of why I think humans are below animals. Humans aren't even worthy of being called animals. Critters. Maybe we're animals. We're not worthy of being called critters anymore. Uh, yeah, I mean, it was just sort of a point that my last video left out on, and I'm ranting about this or that, but a lot of my thoughts are caught up with the recent experience with the bird and all that, which was just like a chance thing. Actually, on time to work and all that, everything, I was actually ahead of schedule. And I mean, it's, emotions like get caught up in that. Like, I can give two fucks about the job. Actually, I can't. Maybe I could give two fucks. That's not a lot of fucks. Like, it's not even something I believe in. But the bird is something I believe in. So, and I always look at them as like messengers, but I always look for signs in lots of shit. I figure everything is as it's supposed to be. I mean, it was like kind of a good wake up call, I guess, and sort of like a clarification like being so close, and I was close to death myself not too long ago. I almost died a horrible death just because I would have left behind a shitty corpse. It was a bit of a mental breakdown, like psychotic. A lot of it was just attributed to the dread of going to work because I hate that job so fucking much. Like just like where are different ways I can cope with just the fucking sheer fucking boredom and fucking all the everything I hate about the job. How can I like cope with it and just actually buckle down and do good at it and all that sort of thing? And I'm like fucking freaking out, and then I'm like got this money, so I'm like I'm trying to buy something for medication, but I don't have access to the right stuff, so I end up buying something and then going overboard on it, and I almost got now I kind of know what a heart attack feels like, and just didn't really care. And so, yeah, I mean, I had money, I could have done better things with it, but it didn't, that part doesn't matter. It's just that I got close to death myself, and I was kind of ambivalent about it. So I just like, where are the circumstances in which I would like to die? And just those weren't them. Not that we always get to choose, but that would be kind of me bringing it upon myself. And then I think about like heaven and hell, and I was thinking like, well, I know God exists and all that. So if there is like, if we die, we die. But maybe the memory of the life we lived is like, there's a fragment of that lives on in, say, God's consciousness. And so therefore, uh, well, it was one thing I realized on one of my trips, I guess. By extension, the critters that I carry in my memory would be a part of that memory. So, so I'm on the verge of death, and I'm like, just totally fucking sideways, and I'm just like, if I die right now, I'm probably going to hell for this shitty behavior, shitty circumstances. But I don't know. Like God kept me alive, and but then I like no. I look at like oh no, compared that to the bird. Or even other critters. Like I was after it died, I was just like crying and stuff, and like I had it like laying in a box next to me, and I was looking at it kind of, but in the same frame of view. There was uh, there was an ant, like a carpenter ant, so a big ant. It was like sitting on a piece of tuna, but it looked like it just wasn't moving. So I like wiggled a cord, and then it moved. And it was weird because it was just like life and death within inches of each other. And there's all sorts of other weird shit, psychological shit. I think the emotions around surrounding death are like so extreme, and that's why some people like engage in it, like murderers and stuff. It's like a weird. Oh, fuck! One of my bag things just broke. One of the handles. There's like this need to like either bury the pain away and never address it and always hide from it and pretend like the world's all fucking peaches and cream, or fucking there's this other instinct to not face it but to like like, oh, it's painful, so I'm gonna like develop a weird fucking appetite for it. I don't know. It's kind of like people who eat shit and get off on that. Like it exists. Well, I don't know. Maybe they had some sort of fucking trauma that they can't deal with. But just the emotions around it are so extreme, and people just avoid it, and they avoid looking at death and facing death. Like even my friend said when I brought the bird into the room, and I thought I was going to work that day. And I was like, well, keep him company, but I didn't ask him to hold on to him or all that stuff because I wasn't gonna put him through the whole thing with it. Like, okay, make sure you like hold on to him and like look him in the eye as he's dying, so he knows he's not alone. But he said he felt the spirit of death come into the room with the bird, like he felt it, and said it made him feel very, very uncomfortable. And yeah, I mean, but it's just what you gotta deal with, I guess. This is probably only fucking Lasher. No, it's good. It's Telegraph. Cool. I made it some distance. I should be packing boxes right now. But like instead, I'm actually making videos and expressing thoughts and shit. Much more important work. There was some other thought. Oh yeah, when I was walking today to come to work, at the same spot when I first found this bird, there was a sibling. I already had a sibling next to it that was already dead. So it was just like waiting to die next to its dead sibling. Like, it's fucking gloomy as fuck, right? And then it rained later, and it was raining all the time. Well, when I went back to work today, I saw a second, not second one, but really it would have been a third one. That was already dead, and like it probably fucking got kicked out. It probably had a few hours, then it started getting rained on, and then it started freezing, and then it like just knew it was gonna die, and it was just nothing. Everything was passing it by. Like it was probably felt forsaken by its like nest. Well, it doesn't understand like why it's being kicked out or anything. Like doesn't understand why these things are happening to it. And all this guy has its dead sibling next to it to like keep it company. Like now it's raining and it's fucking cold, and it's just it's just agony. Like so like if I would have seen that one, when it was alive, I could have brought it back, and it could have like got a last meal, and you know like got some warmth and some company. It really made me sad though, but it also kind of like the death pose. That was it. The death pose when you find them on the ground, it's like they're on their side, and their beaks are all open, and they're like their legs are sprawled out, and it's like it's I could tell it was a very uncomfortable way to die, and compared to like the death pose of the bird that I was taking care of, or really doing hospice for. Um, it's very like it died in a more like dignified sort of pose. Like I was like supporting its legs so it can like lay down on its belly. I was helping it keep its head up. It didn't like it died in a better way. I guess it's the difference between dying in the gutter and dying in a bed. But And that's why there's like cats and predators too. You know, they'll find the injured birds or whatever, and they'll like put an end to them and make a meal out of them, whatever. That's nature doing its thing. But that doesn't happen so much when, you know, humans like fucking propagate diseases beyond their fucking measure. Like, oh, let's make this disease worse. Or like we do everything we can to fucking eradicate nature. Like, oh no, there's stray cats. We gotta give them, you know, like sprayed and neutered because blah blah blah. It's like just fucking let them be. Like let fucking nature be. Like stuff fucking whatever. That's beside the point. I don't know. I've been trying to remember different things and just talk about them as I remember them. Trying to do about a half hour because that's what I know I got memory for in my phone right now. I don't even know what the next like talk thing is gonna be about. Is this like really like wrecks my like this is really like what I avoided talking about in the first vlog when I went in my whole fucking rant about work. I don't give a shit about that. That shit's behind me. I said I was gonna look back maybe once, but I didn't even look back now that I think about it. I just kept walking. So this is like the hard shit to like really, and yeah, I don't think I should have to like sacrifice my heart, lie to my heart for a fucking job. Uh, but yeah, I can tell this shit like really kind of fucks me up. But you could use these emotions though to do better. Like actually give a shit about something. I'm probably gonna like I don't know, I just want to retreat into my own little world for a while. I really only want to deal with nature. Uh, I don't know. I got other plans too. I won't discuss necessarily, but I might be able to get some medication for the birds in some sort of way. Maybe not the exact right medication, but things that can like reduce the symptoms. Because like the specific medications are FDA controlled, and you have to get them specifically through a vet. And this is a whole fucking thing I already been through with the other fucking the veterinarian offices. Like they refuse to see wild birds. They only will see caged birds. Like the medicine is designed for caged birds and birds that they call poultry, birds that are like commercially raised, and that's where they fucking spread viruses and shit like that. And, but maybe there's, maybe there's other methods. Even experimental means would be better than, and then every time I'm around, that's the other thing about death. The more you're around it, the more you like learn about it. The more you now I know like next time it's not pooping right. That might not be constipation. It might be its organs shutting down. Like I learned about bird blood's different than human blood. I thought blood was basically blood. Apparently not. Uh, I learned about oxygen levels in the body, and I didn't learn a lot. I learned a little bit because wasn't with the bird that long. But I learned more about like avian care, and I learned more about medicine in general and how biology functions. Each time I go through this, this is like a much better purpose for living. 2.5 hour. This is like exhausting me too. Been going through all this shit. Like I just want to go. Like I just want to be back asleep and then wake up and like swing a metal pipe around that things, and then like play some chess or something, and then like probably sleep some more. I don't know. I really need to start reading again. Not just internet articles, but actual books. But if I just forget that social media exists or the internet exists or any of that or people outside, maybe I would have the fucking mental fucking will to fucking read a book. Like drag fucking queen time, blah blah blah, story hour. Like if that just fucking raptured off the fucking planet into the fucking center of the sun, well, maybe I'd be able to sit down and read a fucking book in peace. So I wouldn't have extra fucking bandwidth being sucked up by the fucking matrix, so to speak, blah blah blah. But I don't know, this is like life and death fucking survival situation. But I don't care, it's fucking destroying my fucking health. Like this the bigger issue that isn't the local issue. No, I'm off on a tangent. I'm trying to get back to like I got fucking 15 miles ahead of me or some shit. Probably like 14 now. I don't know. I could get ready. Whatever my next video is gonna be, I don't fucking know. That was fucking hell to go through. I get like rehashed, but whatever. I did it.